Andrew and Dylan, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us.
Our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Um, I've gotten a chance to watch a little bit of the new season and I'm enjoying it a lot. You guys have such a great comic chemistry. I know you've been doing it for a while. Talk a little bit about how the rapport you guys have developed on screen and kind of what's the secret to that chemistry there.
Yeah, you want to take it, Rizzy?
Well, I'll go. I'll split it with you, Deep. So I think I'll start off that Dylan and I have a long history together. And before Letterkenny, we met through a mutual friend at UBC, and we were roommates. We played on-screen brothers before Letterkenny, and we are just great friends. So I'd say our instincts and our chemistry has never been the thing we've needed to work on. And I'll let Dylan carry on with the rest.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that, we, to second what Hersey said, we've always had that great chemistry. And then also, I think our work ethics really align as far as when Jerry gave us the opportunity. He did go to bat for us, and he mentioned to Bell that we were the guys, and he brought us over from the YouTube series. So with that sort of pressure, I'm really proud with how much we prepare. We put in many late nights rehearsing so that by the time we got on set, we could deliver that fast-paced dialogue cleanly. And you have to be really off book on this show. I mean, when you watch it, a lot of people assume it's improvised because of how fast it is, but that's, 95% of that stuff is written. So, by coming to set as prepared as we are, and by holding each other to that standard, it allows us to play within that. But being actual friends offset and having that history together. And it is quite shocking how many similarities we have. I mean, we're both the oldest of three boys. We both played junior hockey. We played a very similar role. We were very scrappy. I think we both got the exact same grade 11 math mark. I mean, our stories have way more similarities than differences. So it works for our characters really, really well.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the season, and do you have a favorite moment for both of you? Like it could be a behind the scenes moment or it could be on screen.
My favorite moment was when we were doing the punching through the walls, and we had I'm going to tell this story here because it's hilarious. We had a rehearsal for punching through drywall where Jacob Tierney, our director, mentioned that there were scored lines in the drywall where it would give way so you could punch through it a little bit easier. And Andrew goes, well, how hard do we need to hit it? Like, you still need to hit it pretty hard, right? He's like, yeah, you hit it hard. And then he was like, as hard as I can. He's like, yeah, hit it as hard as you can, and then go from there. And this kid winds up, and he's got a bomb on him, and he puts his arm through this drywall with such force that the idea was to go to here. He gets all the way up to his shoulder through the set, and everyone on set goes, what the hell is that? What just happened? And then Jacob and Kisa go, okay, but half that should be good. That's a lot of power you got there. So that was pretty funny. And then you see the episode where we're tearing the walls apart. I mean, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun bit.
Yeah, that was definitely. I think Dylan and I both were kind of like this when we found out we were gonna be able to have a meltdown on a wall. I mean, anytime we get to be involved in a fight scene, this is technically a fight scene with the wall, I think we get giddy inside, and it kind of reminds us of our days playing junior hockey. So, that was a lot of fun. Obviously, the VidVox stuff was a lot of fun too. The first time we were doing our butt flexes, it was Sudbury in May, so you never know what the weather's going to be like. And the day we first had to whip our butts out, it was like almost minus weather still. So we were freezing our buns, quite literally freezing our buns off. But that scene was a ton of fun because it's always so much fun to work with Tyler, Evan, Nadine, and Sasha, because they bring a lot to the scene. So those were some fun moments this season.
Yeah. I also what I like about the series is just how Canadian it is and how specific it is to like small town Canada. We'll talk about that aspect of the show for you guys. What does it mean to you to be in a series that so honors that experience?
I think it's nice because specifically rural Canada, there's not a ton of TV out there that really lets you in, peer through the window into what like those little cultures are like across Canada. And I always related to Summer Heights High. You kind of, I think it's kind of exotic to other countries to peep through the window and see what some of these places are like, and the little idiosyncrasies and the lexicon that Letterkenny's kind of created. That's been, people do there. A lot of the language you see in Letterkenny come from somewhere, and people actually say those terms, or have said those terms in the past. And I think everyone on the show is proud that that it's so Canadian, and then it's so well received as well.
Yeah, and to sort of to build on that, as Canadian as it is, I think the success in the States is a testament to our similarities. There's a ton of small towns in the States. But the characters in Letterkenny have a lot of, there's so many different characters with so many different attributes and so many different ways of speaking that even though they are, different cultures to an extent, there's a lot more similarities, I feel, between our small town interactions and our characters, I feel like, exist across many different counties and countries and states and provinces. And that's something that I feel is really cool when fans come up to us and say, hey, I know someone from your town. I know someone from Letterkenny. I grew up with a guy that was just like so-and-so. And that's not Canada specific. That's the human experience. And I think that the one thing that is really important if you're going to watch the show is you have to have a pretty good handle on the English language, because we take that thing and we butcher it and we spin it around and we run through words. So, in so long as you can understand what we're saying, or there's a lot of French in there too. I feel like there's a lot of commonality.
Yeah. So final question, something that we ask all the actors that we interview. We love to hear a little bit about people's backstories. So I'd love to hear from each of you what your first acting experience that made you decide that you wanted to pursue it as a career.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
My first, it's funny. I can't really pin it down to one specific show or experience, but and as a little kid, I loved Austin Powers. I watched the Austin Powers films on repeat to the point where I could recite most of the films from start to finish. Like, I was that obsessed with it. So I would do these skits for my family. And I think that really instilled my sense of performance. I really loved doing that. And then I have a good buddy, Rudy Schiebel, I played junior with. And, I was the dressing room funny guy. I was the guy who made things light. And I really enjoyed, being the center of attention and essentially performing for the boys, making them laugh, doing stuff that I just naturally thought was funny. And I remember very well, there was one specific night where he, it was late in the evening and he goes, "You're really, really funny, man. And I really think you should pursue acting. Like, it's something that I believe you would be good at." And it was the first time that, it just resonated with me. And I thought, you know what, that is something I would love to do. And crazy as it sounds, acting was my plan B. My plan A was playing in the NHL. And if you look at my stats, I wasn't going to the NHL. So plan B, here it comes, let's go. And, luckily I had blinders on. I didn't recognize how hard the industry is to get into, but I think a little bit of that naivety and that work ethic from hockey allowed me to come in and just, do what I could do to get to where I could get to. And, the rest is history. So, Hersey?
Yeah, so mine's a little different. My family relocated to a new city when I was going into grade 12. And I was a bit of a lost puppy, like lost my friends, wasn't as confident back then. And there's this thing called the Sears Drama Festival. I always loved film growing up, like would stay up. My grade 11 accounting teacher called my parents saying, like, your son's asleep every morning, because I'd been up all night watching movies. So I always loved film, but not being close to Toronto or Vancouver or New York or Los Angeles, being like in the film industry wasn't something that you'd see or even think of. And my friend Christina Miller was doing this thing called the Sears Drama Festival, which is like a student-run competition amongst high schools. And I don't know why. I mean, maybe I was watching too much Entourage at the time, and I knew I wanted to make friends. And she's like, you should audition. And my first audition was terrible. Like I was like, got flashed red, like nervous, stuttering, like left the room. For whatever reason, she kept me in the play. Jordan Richards, who was opposite of me, it was called Never Swim Alone by Daniel MacGyver, basically taught me how to act while we were rehearsing. And the first time I stepped on stage, I knew I was hooked. So yeah, I wanted to be a stage actor, and there's a bit of I don't want to go rant on for too long, but I really also wanted to get on my own, and I'd gotten into Ryerson Theater, but I really wanted to go to UBC, and the rest is kind of history. But yeah, I got my first taste in high school.